Hello, my name's Gillian, and I happen to be married to James Shaw, who's not here, I'm afraid. He's gone back to America and he's busy teaching. I live in the UK, and again, it's down to me to introduce this video that we shot recently to launch our new website. Right From Within has a brand new website. You can go to www.rightfromwithin.com to check that out if you haven't already. And like I said in our last video, we make a very bold statement on the homepage of our new website, and we claim that Right From Within brings forth a brand new paradigm in riding, and we don't make that statement lightly. And these videos we've made them to back up that claim. We know it's true, and we want you to know that too. So this second interview, James goes into the fact that Right From Within brings forth a new paradigm in the way that we shift our perception from the horse to the rider. Right From Within solely looks at the rider's part in the horse and rider dynamic, both on the ground, but predominantly in the saddle. This is a brand new way of taking responsibility for ourselves within, in all areas, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So James, in this interview, goes into the revolutionary third movement of the pelvis. Again, if you think you know what this is, you don't. This is unique to Ride From Within. Go check it out. James explains exactly how the horse owns this movement, and Right From Within brings forth a new paradigm because we take you into where the horse lives. Right From Within is defined by natural laws, so is your horse. And if you follow these principles, you will join your horse where he or she lives. So go check this interview out. James Shaw is a genius. I urge you to keep your mind open and see what he has to say. Enjoy.
So Ride From Within presents a new paradigm in riding. And one of the other ways we've talked about strength and leverage as the old paradigm and receive and redirect as the new paradigm. But there are other sides to this. And Ride From Within seems to be a new paradigm in a sense that the focus is on the rider and the onus is on the rider as being responsible for the way the horse goes.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. And it stems from, well, the human body is the greatest place that we can change, meaning our movements. When we change our movements on the ground, we live better, we move better, we are balanced, we're not keeping our balance. Our health changes because we're not fighting gravity, we're not expending energy just standing, right? We have more energy because of that, the way we stand in a line. And so the horses are closer to nature. You know, these principles that Tai Chi is bound by, that guides Tai Chi and therefore Ride From Within. Or I could say the principles of internal martial art, which Tai Chi is one of them. Bagua, Xingyi are the other two. Chinese internal arts. I'm sure there's others in the world, but I didn't study them. So in that world, we look to nature as, these principles came out of nature. Animals don't waste energy. Animals move in a way that is, I'll say, in rhythm or in harmony with the earth, gravity, its footing, its surrounding. And so we want to move more like animals move. Horses already move within these principles, so it's the rider that gets to change. And in doing so, as we understand more about ourselves and our movement and how it affects the horse in a way that we've never been privy to before. We've never been able to see that, oh, my weight aid tells that hind foot where to go, period. Whether I'm conscious of where my weight is or unconscious of my weight. It's It's like gravity is gravity, regardless of whether you believe in it or not,
Sure.
whether you can explain it or not.
So you're saying that horses, by the way that we define old paradigm and new paradigm and Ride from Within, you're saying that horses live in the new paradigm. They're already
They
what
are
you're
the
calling
new.
the new paradigm.
Yes.
They are it.
Yes, they are it. They are it. So, and this is, well, it's proven by when the rider makes a change in their body that is totally new to them, and it might take them, hours or weeks or years, days to change, to make that change. The horse changes immediately. As soon as the rider changes, the horse changes immediately. So we know that the horses always have had this within them, this new paradigm, if you will. They've been waiting for us, I believe. I don't know if they've been waiting, but they own it. They own it. Yes. I like to think about it like there was a time that many people, civilizations, believed the world was flat. The world's flat. And then, the general public started to get exposed to this idea that the world is a sphere, that the earth is not the center of God's world and the solar system, right? The sun is the solar system. But until then, many people believed the earth was flat. Now, when they discovered or became very common knowledge, no, the world is round. The world didn't change. The world was always round. The earth was always round. It always orbited the sun in our solar system. It didn't change when the human went, oh, the world's round. So I like that analogy because...
The horse being the earth.
Right, the horse being the earth. It's always been.
Right.
When we change, it's there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, and this is why this works. Why Ride from Within works. It doesn't work because I'm a great rider, or it's a new technique,
right,
or it's a new angle. It's completely new in its belief and understanding of timing, weight, aid, position, being balanced, not keeping your balance, receiving and redirecting force as opposed to using strength and leverage. That's all new. The horses don't need to be trained to do Ride from Within.
Yeah,
they instantly do it.
So we are training ourselves
Yes.
to meet the horse.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes. In the saddle and out of the saddle.
To move like them.
Yes. In essence, to move more like a horse.
And so what's different about Ride from Within? Because many people will argue, well, I move with my horse. But it's not true, is it? There's a component to the horse's movement that hasn't been noticed that they do that we don't do.
Yeah, the language is interesting. Moving with my horse just, doesn't mean that you are absolutely joined centers with your horse. So the new paradigm really is this receiving the power of the horse that flows through its skeleton when it pushes into the earth, into our skeleton, letting it flow through our skeleton back to the horse, back to the earth. And in doing so, we free up our center, our seat, if you will, so we can use this third movement available to the pelvis, or our center, which creates three-dimensional balance as opposed to two-dimensionally.
So this third movement is what makes it different.
Yes,
Because you're saying that there's a third dimension to the movement of our pelvis.
Yes.
That the horse already does.
Well, they do it, but they don't do it when we're on their back and we're not doing it. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to do it because they're still doing it. The horses only add this third movement, which is, if you look at
Yeah, but it's natural to the horse, right? So when the
Yes,
horse
yes,
is-
it's natural to the horse. They don't have to learn to do it like we do it. The minute we do it in the saddle, they do it.
But they do it on their own on the ground, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
So when
yes.
you see a horse, you're leading a horse, for instance,
Yes,
or no rider on its back, it has this third dimension to its pelvis.
well,
Naturally.
let me put it this way. It depends on how much influence the two-dimensional seat has had on it.
Okay, say a foal. Never seen
A foal, yeah, foal after it gets its legs underneath it, they have this movement.
So it's natural to a horse to move in this third dimension.
Yes.
Plane, that's what I'm getting.
Yes, yes,
And it's also natural to horses to rotate in the joints of their femur.
yes,
And I observed that only just yesterday with my own horse. If you watch your horse on a circle with no rider on it, the outside hind always pivots. You'll see it pivoting in the ground.
Yes.
That's the rotation.
yes.
Because it's not got any weight bearing, it's an outside leg. You see the twist, does it? So that's proof to me that the horses
Yes.
use rotation in their natural movement, which we don't, and we don't do it when we're riding.
Yes,
And you're saying that that lack of a movement in us as riders impedes the horse's natural way of going because you say they mirror us?
right. They mirror our movement. So when they mirror our movement on the ground. But when we sit on them, if we don't have this rotation in our femur heads, the hip joint, and in the pelvis, that vertical left-right rotation on the axis of the sacrum, if that's not there, it's mirrored in the horse, meaning it's not in the horse, and it's it looks very stiff,
Yeah.
very rigid. Now it can be very strong, with strength, but it's not fluid to my eye. And I have a pretty good eye for, it's one of my kind of gifts is seeing that movement. And well, almost more than not seeing the movement, I can see where the movement should be and it isn't.
Right.
Things that are holding still that shouldn't be holding still with muscle mass or bone movement and all of that. So when we put it in, when we have it in our body, the horses immediately mirror it because they are naturally there.
Right.
They have it within themselves. Right. But this phenomena of mirroring, good and bad, if we're moving our pelvis a certain way, they mirror that.
So bringing this third dimensional movement into our pelvis really frees the horse to start to move more naturally underneath us.
Yes.
And this three-dimensional movement is not taught anywhere else, and it certainly isn't there if you haven't been taught it. Am I understanding that correctly? I mean,
that's my observation.
Some people will say, "Oh, well, I'm free in my pelvis, so I go with my horse." But you're saying the horse can't put that movement into your pelvis on its own?
The horse cannot influence that third movement, that left-right movement of the pelvis.
Okay, so
not side to side, front to back, but on a vertical axis.
Okay.
This left-right movement of the horse's pelvis.
That further for people watching.
Actually.
What do you mean? So
let's use the globe for that. This is quite good. So this globe, if you think of this as the rider's seat, their pelvis, the globe is the pelvis. Most riders, their pelvis moves like this. The sit bones get pushed forward with the saddle, and the top of the pelvis, the lumbar curve, goes back. This is the third movement. This rotation of the pelvis on the vertical axis of the sacrum.
So most people go
like this, front to back, side to side. And then we use our bigger muscles to contract inward to the center to hold it still. So there's less of this, but it's still in there. What we teach and what this third movement is changing the angle of the sacrum through the lower back so that, if you will, the axis changes here, and then there's this movement within the center, and this movement allows the hip joint, right, your hip, to move forward, and then the leg steps forward. This old way, this stays still, it goes front to back this way, and the leg has to step forward by itself. This actually leads the movement of the leg forward, forward. And as this one's stepping forward, on the other side, as it comes back slightly, it allows for that inward rotation in the femur head, which creates much more power in the stride without more muscle contraction. We get more power for less muscle contraction. In other words, we're more relaxed. We're using rotations to create power instead of contracting, using leverage to hold ourselves still, and then to create strength to move the horse. So it's
Makes perfect sense.
yeah.
So the horse is freer and to move as it's designed to.
Right.
It's us that don't know how to use our bodies correctly
Yes,
as they
yeah.
are designed to.
Yes, we don't use our bodies very efficiently. We certainly don't use our center efficiently. Now we can, when we're young, we get away with it because the muscles are bigger, faster, we're more flexible. This lack of efficiency in our center, which all movement should come from, becomes more and more apparent as we get older.
Right.
And it becomes more and more serious as we get older because it leads to not being able to lift our feet up. It leads to being hunched and leaned over as we lose the battle with gravity. So, yeah, like I said, it's a lack of efficiency that is made up for with muscle strength and reaction time. Reacting quickly with muscle. This takes that away. So in essence, when we do this, we have more energy longer. We move more efficiently from the start right through our old age, and we can ride longer.
And in riding, we become more powerfully influential over the horse because the horse
Yes.
will mirror the way that we move.
Yes, I think we become more powerful, more influential, because these movements are the loudest and clearest form of communication with the horse. Our physical body, our weight, our skeleton, the use of gravity, the physical movement of our body and control of our body is the loudest form of communication we have with the horse, working against us or for us. Right? When it works against us, it's still just as loud.
But we don't often know that as riders.
We don't know it.
So this is the change of paradigm. We look to ourselves to see where the problem is rather than the horse, because in the old paradigm,
Yes.
the horse takes a lot of blame for rider issues.
Yes. Like if a horse, this is a common thing, so I'll just use it. If most horses bend better in one direction than the other direction.
Yeah.
And always, in my experience with thousands of riders, all different levels, from Olympic levels to beginner levels, in every discipline, it's the rider's lack of ability that creates my horse can't go to the right very well.
Wow.
Or doesn't pick up the right lead, or it doesn't bend left well. As soon as the rider gets this new awareness of their body, changes their paradigm, if you will, of their own self, all of a sudden, the bad direction becomes the good direction.
And you've actually witnessed this over years.
Hundreds of times since...
It changes instantly.
Yeah, since 1995, 96, when I first started being introduced to the riding world and riders and observing, I'd see it.
And that's
we see
hard.
it change.
That's hard for riders to take. That's a bit like you in your kung fu days realizing at your peak of your physical fitness that,
Yeah.
oh my God, this tiny Chinese lady can do
Yeah.
the floor.
Yes,
It's a similar
yeah.
challenge for the rider to say, oh my gosh,
Sure.
it's me
Sure.
that's
And
impeding my horse, it's causing the fault
yeah.
that I am thinking are training issues, whereas in fact they're not training issues, they're
No.
rider issues.
yes, I like to think it's a mental, emotional, ego issue that we have to surrender.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We don't have to. You never have to take this on. You know, people don't have to surrender it.
Sure, but if you're going to...
But if you're going to, you have to, because all of a sudden it shows up in your life everywhere.
You know, you have to look within and take responsibility.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
It's not an easy thing for people to do.
No. It's challenging to question your own belief system. Mm-hmm. Because I think what happens is we have this belief, however it got started and it's solidified, we have this belief. My horse goes better to the right. Bigger, faster, stronger, I'll do better. You know, whatever these belief systems are. And they move out of the realm of belief into knowing. You know, and that's when the ego, I believe, gets a hold of it. My ego says, no, you don't understand. My horse doesn't bend well to the right.
That's a fact.
Here, I'll show you. Yeah, it's a fact. So I know that is so challenging to say, to just get a crack in that
it's maybe
armor.
It doesn't go well.
Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe. And the beauty is I remember the Dalai Lama saying, well, it's accredited to him because I didn't hear him say it, but the quote was, a change of mind has to begin with a change of heart. And I love that, because you have to soften to change your mind. And this is where there's a great advantage to the horse-rider relationship, because everyone I know in the riding world loves horses.
Sure, and we'll go on to talk more about that in the next interview. But for this one, physical, three-dimensional movement in the pelvis is what makes Ride From Within totally unique.
Totally unique.
It's absolutely fascinating.
You know, it was a few years ago. In fact, you were with me, or you were at the clinic when I not discovered. Yeah, when I saw the movement of the pelvis, that third movement, you know, this rotation in the pelvis, and it totally changed the way I could step to the side, maintain, and redirect my balance or my weight. And I spent, I don't know, 2 years trying to prove that wrong. Like, it blew my mind when it happened. It changed my world, literally changed my world when I discovered it. And then I started to look for it. Not only did I try to prove it wrong, it's too easy to prove something right. You know, the ego gets involved and you just say it's right. And it's like, my horse doesn't bend well to the right. Well, I know he doesn't, because he doesn't. You know, the ego gets a hold of it. So I tried to prove it wrong. And in doing so, I started looking at a ton of videos and a ton of riders, live and, you know, in person, to see if I could see that movement in the pelvis. And it wasn't there.
Unless you learn it.
Yes.
Okay, that's fascinating, and really it is a paradigm shift to look at the rider as being responsible for, you would say, most issues. How far would you go to say how much the rider is responsible for their horses going as they want to?
Because of the nature of the training and the knowing that we have to keep the mind open and continually change the mind, open the mind for this, I would say all issues are the riders.
Wow.
Now, I don't mean every single, that there aren't crooked horses, that there aren't that. But if you start with that mindset, it's me, it's not my horse, then you can honestly discover that 5% where it might be the horse.
Right.
And then when you discover it is me 95% of the time, the 5% of the horse, the fix is still in me.
Oh.
I'm still the fix.
Right. Can you give us an example of that?
Well, say you turn your belly button left, right, and you've added that in, and it's amazing, you know, and then you believe that, well, my horse doesn't move that well to the right because it's impeding my pelvis to the right. and you look in deeper and you realize, oh wait, it's not I'm doing it as best as I can, so it's not me. It's not me. Then you can turn, and let's say your belly, your pelvis, your horses don't step up as far on the right. So, by discovering that it's not you, it is the horse, I can turn my pelvis more to the left. In essence, I can ride out of balance
To compensate.
to get the horse to step up. So I'm still the fix.
So it's still the right. So 100%.
Yeah, it's not lunging the horse more on the right side and developing the muscle
I
and
see.
getting them to step under and all that. The fix is still within me.
So one way or another, across the board, is the rider's responsibility.
Yes.
And that's what makes this a paradigm
Yes.
shift.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Fascinating talk.
And there you have it. What a fascinating discussion. Just brilliant. I hope you enjoyed that second part of our 3-part series to launch our new website. You can go check it out, www.ridefromwithin.com. You'll find way more information there, some videos to watch, also ways to receive tuition from James. There's books, DVDs, and teaching aids, and all sorts of things. If your questions are not answered there, you can also email James directly, james@ridefromwithin.com. And if you don't get an answer quickly, email me, Gillian@ridefromwithin.com. James is a very busy man, but I'll make sure you get your answers. Well, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please share it. Please like it below, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.